Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Podcast Assemble, the show where you come for your regular geeky download. My name's Tommy, and I am delighted to be joined once again by my friend and co-host from across the pond. It's a returning DL!
I have returned.
He's back, baby!
And I've come with opinions.
Oh my god.
I've come with opinions. For one, are we really just going to relegate ourselves to geeks? What about, why not call us thoughtful, intelligent, critics
I think anyone who's listened to
of
the podcast
somewhat nerdy
wouldn't
things
believe
at
that.
times, but sometimes very exciting things.
Exciting things.
I would say
Mm,
today's main topic, it's not geeky, but
I don't know. It's got some geeky elements to it.
I don't know. I think this is a mass appeal movie that wasn't meant to be, but would be. Anyway,
Well, I'm glad you've come with opinions.
Yes, I've
How
come
are
with
you,
opinions.
mate? How are you doing?
come with opinions. I've come with a tan,
A tan. Oh my god.
and I've come with a fiance.
Oh my god.
Yes, this is
Ladies and gentlemen, he's off the market. I'm so sorry.
the DL pseudo name.
Woo!
If that was why you were into me,
I don't know.
Oh,
It's more your dulcet tones. I think.
Yeah,
people like.
my tepid tones. Too bad. So sad.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. He
Yeah.
is officially off the market. Now that's terrible news for me, unfortunately.
Weird. I thought we were just friends.
Yeah. Well, for other reasons than just that. I mean, of course, I was hoping you'd propose to me, but now we're at the stage where I think my partner might be thinking everyone around me. I think she's thinking all my friends are getting engaged at the moment. My best friend in Melbourne got engaged. She's like, oh, it must be coming. I'm like, nah, I'm kidding.
These things aren't.
I'm kidding. She knows that I'm never going to propose.
She heard that from across the room, so now he's in the
Yeah,
doghouse tonight.
I'm literally in trouble right now. No, but mate, congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you, man.
You had 4 weeks away and everything changed.
I mean, when you actually think about it, literally nothing changed.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I spent too much money on a commoditized rock, but other than that, no, it's been good, man. It was a really good trip, and it's back into the thick of things where you're at work and you're like, what's the next thing I can watch to escape the boredom of work? Sometimes it's not always boring work, but most of the time it is. And I know I look forward to the new things coming out, and there's quite a bit coming. And I've actually watched quite a bit while I've been away. I know you have too.
Oh, we're gonna get into that in a moment.
Like what?
But I'm good as well, by the way. Thank you for asking. Like, I appreciate.
Sorry,
that.
I jumped straight into myself. I mean, to be fair, it's been a pretty crazy month for me.
It has.
Yeah.
When did you get back?
Monday. So sorry, what am I saying? It's now Tuesday the next week. I got back on August 1st. I was gone for a month. I was in Europe for a month.
Yeah, you were.
What did you do?
The listeners
while I
wouldn't-
was gone, other than just sit in the rain?
I certainly don't have the same tan you have. Christ, you look.
Yeah,
You're bronze.
it feels as if there's a lot of pressure to maintain this bad boy.
You're not gonna maintain.
I know.
It, yeah.
I gotta get out of here.
Man, we got up to
Yeah.
we got a lot of nice things, a lot of coupley things. Very relaxing, chilling out. I'm trying to think of a single fucking thing I did
He's
while
just
you were away.
scrolling through his notes like he's gonna find it in his notes. Like, dude,
I have to look through.
do you have a calendar
actually-
invite for every single thing you do?
No,
you're
I
fine.
actually squeezed like a bunch of gigging into the time while you were away. Like
gigging.
So for anyone who doesn't know, I'm actually a big music enthusiast. I love live music. Love it. And COVID was like crushing my soul. And while it was COVID, we actually booked tickets to see a couple of bands, that one of which got pushed right back and two of which are quite recent purchases. But we purchased tickets to see a band called The Strokes. I think you might know them. American band from New York.
Definitely know who The Strokes are.
Yeah, so that's an all-timer band for me in terms of when I was sort of in uni, very early uni. They were just coming out, and I was like, I have to see them one day, so I can check that off my bucket list now. That was a good gig. They didn't play the one fucking song that everybody wanted them to play.
Which one?
Last night.
Yeah.
The one song.
Yeah, but you wouldn't, would you?
Of course you would.
If you're them this
course
long, I don't know.
would.
I actually had a poster of The Strokes in my college dorm.
Of course you did.
It was a cool poster.
Which one?
I don't know. They was just like black and white, and they were like,
nice.
grayed out, and it was like early Strokes. They were like I think they were like recording an album or something. They were just something in their practice space.
Oh, see, so it wasn't like an album cover.
No, it was like a proper like picture.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
That's awesome. Well, anyway, I saw a guy called Bonobo, who's a very cool DJ from the UK, and a band that you came with me to see this weekend called Gang of Youths.
I did.
What did you think? We never really debriefed. We were having too much fun laughing on the way home.
it was a pretty crazy Uber ride back, but I thought it was a good show. I mean, like overall, it's fun. I think that I don't love that venue, but
No, the venue was awful, and the sound quality was it was abysmal.
and like for a venue that big, can you give me more alcohol options? Are they just sponsored by shitty?
Yeah.
Is that the reason why they're
Probably.
sponsored by just
Yeah.
crappy brands? Because it was there was not one quality.
I don't think any of it was good.
Yeah, but the show was not.
I
So
can't
bad.
think of anything we drank. We drank Super Dry.
We drank like
So for
Super
anyone,
Dry, but like a weird version of Super Dry.
so if anyone doesn't know, Super Dry is a low carb beer in Australia, and wow, it's bad. Like
It was like worse there though.
so bad.
Something about it was worse.
Like I don't know how or why, but it was.
Yeah, and then it was like It was not even Jack and Coke. It was like a Jim Beam and Coke.
Oh my god, it was awful.
Yeah, which is just
it was
gross.
like 1,000 grams of sugar.
And Jim Beam is gross.
It's so bad. Look,
Um,
Look, guys, anyway, we are going to get into it. But if you want to listen to us banter about our days, please feel free to stick around. Otherwise, there will be time codes in the description. What we're going to do now is, for anyone new to the podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about what we call What Have You Been Up To? Where we talk about the TV shows, the movies, the random stuff we have been up to. And we've had lots of time. Or I have.
I've had quite a few flights and train rides.
You have.
Yeah, I burned through some shit.
What have you done? Give me. Can we start with one? Actually, there's one that we talked about, and we never sort of final
I know
episode.
you're gonna talk about.
You're gonna say Stranger Things.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yes, let's talk about that first. What do you think? The last two episodes.
Honestly, the last two episodes kind of dragged on for me.
Yes,
but
same.
they were like fun enough, but they were a bit long. Look, it was good. I was kind of. Are we spoilers?
Let's just
Stranger
call
Things?
spoilers for Stranger Things season
Yeah.
4.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, okay, go.
I thought a main character would die,
Yeah, me too.
and they,
In fact,
they kind of halfway did.
I'm
but
in
it
fact
didn't.
disappointed a main character didn't die.
I thought Steve was toast.
he should have been.
I thought he was so toast.
So we were having a conversation, me and the partner, while it was happening. We
Yeah.
were saying either Steve or Jonathan should have died.
Yeah, one of them had to die.
One of them has to.
because like then they're just kind of rehashing this same
Yeah.
story.
And they're just kind of butting heads, even though they're
Yeah.
not really butting heads anymore. Like,
We'll see what they do with it. I guess there's only one more season, so maybe they've got a
it's
plan.
true. They've already
Well,
started.
Yeah, but it's
Looking
kind of to
forward.
me like, I just thought one of them was gonna die,
They had to. Like, it was an absolute
and then I
must.
thought they went max, and I was like, wow, they are going darker than I thought they were. But they kind of
Do you think so? I had a.
kind of made 11 Jesus.
Yeah. Oh my god. It was so bad. I had like a random fan theory in my head that like there's like a conduit to Vecna. He needs like a psychological connection with someone. Psychological connection with someone to come into the
Psychotic.
world in the first place.
Yes.
And I think so. Everyone had there was the speculation, the rampant rumors that it was the kid's psychologist who had all of the notes about all the different kids who got taken by Vecna. So like that was his link, and then he manages to come in. I think it might be Max now. I think she's going to be the one who he like projects himself into. If it's not, I mean, if it's Will, that's
Why does
too
that even
obvious.
need to be a thing?
I don't know. I just think it's an interesting idea. It's how he sustains himself in the real world. I don't know, man. It's just an idea. It was weird.
It does seem they did seem to imply that like someone's been mind flared,
Yes.
didn't they?
Yes, they did. And even in interviews prior to the
Yeah.
season, the kid who plays Lucas was like, "There's a traitor in the group this season," and it never seemed to actualize for me.
I thought that like maybe they thought like maybe that could mean just like Lucas was a bit of a traitor because he was a bit of a punk
maybe.
for half the season.
I mean, maybe it was everyone read a bit too much into it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that to be honest, like it feels like their whole villain thing kind of feels a bit like retconny, but
Yes.
it's like not so bad that I'm gonna like whinge about it too much. But it doesn't. It does feel like they're kind of at this point making it up as they go.
Oh, maybe a little bit. But I mean,
And it's
did you
not,
did you hear about the Vecna theory that he was in there all along?
I saw like a video, but
Yeah.
but again, it felt retconned.
It did.
and
but it's-
maybe it was for like season 2 onward, right? But like
well, the
I
interesting
don't
thing
think in
is
season
that
1 they knew that.
yeah. Well, the
Yeah.
three things they called out in that were that firstly, the Demogorgons, who were the bad guys in the first season, don't have telekinesis powers. So he opens the Will Byers' door with telekinesis, like slides the thing from outside.
Yeah.
And then Will Byers is there in the Upside Down, singing his favorite song, which keeps him safe.
Keeps him alive.
Which
yeah.
is the next. There's a couple of little
Which
bits
is
like
fair.
that. And it kind of looks like him as well if you see it in the actual
I don't
show.
see. That's where I'm like, it didn't really look.
And
like
it's
him.
probably retconny in that sense, but I like that. I think it's an interesting one. If they can, even if they took some elements of the first season and went, well, this didn't seem to work, let's change it.
Yeah, Yeah, overall I was fine with it, man.
I liked it a lot.
I enjoyed it. I don't know. I felt like it was longer than it needed to be.
Okay.
Like I'll be honest.
Oh, the last 2
I
episodes,
just started to lose interest. Like I was like, I kind of know where this is going.
Yeah.
Can you go with it? And then like more like for all that build up, no one died. I was kind of also like, well, I thought I knew where this was going, but you didn't really do anything.
I just don't think
that
they took
shocking.
any big chances.
Yeah, like it was like kind of like, yeah, does everyone have plot armor? Like,
yeah,
I was kind
everyone
of
except the people like everyone likes.
And then when I saw Max like die, I was like, fuck, that's actually gonna fuck up their group, and they'll maybe have to deal with the repercussions next season. And then
Did
she
you
like
literally bring her back from the dead?
I mean, like they kind of like imply that.
Yeah.
I mean, like what else was it?
I don't know. Anyway, as a whole, I did really enjoy it as a season. Dragged on a bit, like you say, but like, why? Give them a little bit of leeway.
The first half, I think I like when I go back to like the first half, like it was quite scary.
Oh, fine.
And I really dug the first half, and then it kind of like lost its bite for the second half. But I did like you know what they do really well is they give people, they cast well, and the characters, like the Eddie character was like super good character, well acted.
He
like,
has got huge. He's doing show. He's like behind the scenes with Metallica and shit. Like people love.
What else has he been in?
I don't think anything. I haven't seen him.
I'm gonna look it up on IMDb.
Look him up.
Tell me
right
what
now.
the next thing you've been watching while I do that is.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's get into a couple of other things. On the whole, I really enjoyed it. It was good fun. I'll tell you one thing that you'll really like that we've been watching, and I'm going to touch on it very quickly because I think we've got a lot of things to talk about. But my partner has finally given in, and she is watching Game of Thrones from the beginning. Now, obviously, the House of the Dragon is coming out very soon. We're not rushing to get her up to date to see that or anything because that's obviously a prequel. But she's up to season 5 already, and this is within like 2 or 2.5 weeks. That's a lot of TV.
It is, and for
intense
for
TV.
a dense show.
Yeah, like a lot.
Yeah.
And like honestly, like love her attention span isn't that intense, shall we say?
Yeah.
That something like this, but it's really grabbed her. Like I sort of said, she sort of said like, should I try it? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like watch the first season, and if it doesn't grab you after that, like you can just take a step back. Because the first season for me, like is probably it's up there with the best ones. Like I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm sticking by my conclusion that season 5 as a whole is bad. As a whole, there's like 2 good episodes, maybe 3.
I agree that season 5 isn't very good.
Hard Home's in there. We're about to watch that. There's one.
That's when all the sand snake stuff is introduced.
It's terrible.
Like, it's
so
like
boring.
laughably bad.
Yeah. And then there's the whole thing with Jamie going to Dawn.
That whole storyline, the King's Landing storyline around stumbles so badly.
So boring. And there's obviously the High Sparrow.
Yeah.
For me, it gets really dull at this point. But then there's, like I said, this Hard Home. There's the episode where Jon Snow beheads Janos Slynt, which is actually, I didn't realize that's like 5 minutes of a small that's like 5 minutes of a whole episode. But that's one of my favorite scenes. So we've been doing that. What about yourself? Have you found Eddie Munson? Is he anything else?
I cannot find it because he's like so low on the freaking what's the actor's name?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You tell me your second one, and I'll see if I can find it.
Okay. In essence, I've been doing all sorts of things: reading, watching shows, watching movies. But the thing I've probably done the most of is watch this old show, I should say.
Oh yeah,
on HBO called Deadwood. Have you heard of it?
I know Deadwood.
Have you watched it?
No. Is that?
Fuck, I love it.
What's the dude's name?
It's so good.
What's the main dude's name? He was in later episodes of Game of Thrones.
Al Swearingen. Timothy Oliphant is Seth Bullock, and then the main guy who you're talking about is Ian McShane.
Ian McShane,
who, by the way, like he just kills it as Al Swearingen. Like he's so good in this. He's so fucking good. He plays this guy. I highly recommend.
Okay, all right.
Well, and I'm like also, Western, and this is like one of the best.
Yes, you are.
This is one of the best Western stories I've ever seen.
Really?
Like, properly. And it's just so good. And Al Swearingen is hilarious. He's this guy that like basically runs a brothel / bar in the West, and he's like found this like area that's got a bunch of gold around it. He's not actually mining the gold. He's thinking longer term. He's like, there's going to be a town here, and I'm going to be the dude that owns all the property.
Yes, got it.
And like, it's in an area that's like currently actually recognized as Native American tribe land.
Interesting.
But they're pretty confident will get annexed by the U.S. government, and therefore, if it gets annexed, like it's just like you don't have to buy the land; it's whoever claimed it. and so they're just like kind
Are
of
they all
operating.
squabbling?
Yeah, they're operating like illegally in the hopes of like negotiating to become a sovereign part of a state or a territory and get just basically like free land, right, and free money. And it's this like, it just explores how that happens, the corruption with the government, how this town kind of creates itself, and like how it's like philosophical in the sense it's like how does society actually work, and what are the pillars of it, and if you don't have
Within the
certain things, what
framework of the
happens,
Western.
and like people have to step up. But it's very good.
How many seasons are there?
There's 3 seasons, and I don't know if it was canceled or if it was just always meant to end on 3 seasons. But there's 3 seasons and an HBO movie.
Interesting.
Which makes me think like it got canceled and people.
I think it came back. I think it made like a comeback later on.
Yeah.
The other reason I said interesting is that Eddie Munson's actor Joseph Quinn was in Game of Thrones.
Joseph Quinn
as Kona. I don't know who that is. I'm assuming it's one of like
Joseph Quinn,
some background character. But
Overlord.
Very interesting. Yeah, I don't know any of the stuff. So you'd recommend
Goner? Yeah, who the fuck is Goner? I would highly recommend Deadwood.
Nice.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's like a very character-driven story. If you don't like the Western setting, it'll be harder for you, but it's not like all about that. It's more like political intrigue and just characters and just like the time and backstabbing, and it's interesting.
All right. Well, I'm going to lump together. We've got a lot to get to. I'm going to lump together a couple, and then I'm going to do some really fast ones. I watched a couple of really fun docudramas, docuseries, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
First one was on a dude called Ivan Milat. Did you ever heard of him?
No idea who it is.
So Ivan Milat, right, was in the 70s and 80s in Australia, and I didn't know this. I got a lift home from a coworker, and she was telling me all about this. And I was like, "Are you this person?" So what even Ivan Milat used to do was he used to sit on this patch of road where travelers would go out and hitchhike from one area to another.
Yeah.
He'd pick up the hitchhikers, take them to an area in the woods, and murder them.
Yeah.
It is terrifying.
Oh.
And the show was awful, but the thing behind it was very interesting. Yeah. And I also watched, there is a new newish now, but a new Netflix docuseries on DB Cooper. You know, the only guy who's ever
why does that name sound familiar?
Loki parodied it. You know, when Loki was DB Cooper. He's the only guy who ever hijacked a plane and got away with it.
Oh, yeah.
In the States, in Seattle, in the 70s, I believe. And so interesting. Like, I got a little bit repetitive towards the end because no one can solve it. Like, how are you going to solve it? There's no way of knowing. Unless someone comes forward and says, I'm DB Cooper, here's irrefutable evidence, which no one's obviously going to do.
Statute of limitations, surely at some point you're good.
Well, no, he's not. He'd probably go to prison. But actually, the FBI just said that they're finished with the case. So
they're like, we don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
anymore.
they don't give a fuck. Look, what do you want? What do you give me a couple more things.
I watched The Gray Man.
Yes, let's talk about that. That's my next one.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Mediocre.
Yeah.
Such a classic Netflix movie.
Yeah, it really is. It started off well.
They can't stop themselves from fucking things up. Like, it did start off well.
Had a $200 million budget.
Of course it did. Like, it's just more than it needed to be in everything.
Mental amounts of money.
In everything. It's
crazy.
Like they just needed to find ways to spend the money.
Well, I guess it's Ryan Gosling, Ana de Armas, and Chris Evans that money went towards, right? Surely.
I mean, how much can you pay an actor? It's $200 million.
Well, a lot. Like 25, 30 million? Well, there's 50, 60, 70.
I guess maybe like when people know it's Netflix, they're like, demand all the money. You know what I mean? Yeah, but like even then, like 75 million, you could have still made a better movie with another 25 to 40 and just left it at that.
Oh, I mean, today's main topic is going to literally prove that.
Yeah, I think 100%.
The CGI was awful.
Like, not only was it
so
awful,
bad,
it was just like excessive. And then it was just like the second, you said this the other day, the whole second half of the movie was just flashbacks to the first.
It was.
It was like, it wasn't that long ago. I remember.
I know.
Like, maybe the character point you're trying to hit home isn't that strong if you think you have to like remind me every 20 minutes that something happened. Like, you're not developing that good of a character.
It's funny. Like, it's one of those things whereby when you have something like Marvel or, you know, even some DC movies, they have so much background to them. You're like, you can call back to things. You can make that on your left reference in Endgame. In this, it's like, you just said that
the guy
five
doesn't have
ago.
a name. He's 6. Like, come on.
I liked it though. I
There's
had
only
fun
like
with
4 lines of backstory. What are you calling back to?
I did have fun with it. I'm not gonna lie. Like if they released a second one, I'd happily watch it.
I was so over it by the last hour.
Were you?
Yeah.
Last hour.
I was like,
Christ.
just kill Chris fucking
Chris Evans is great. I thought he was.
Yeah, he's a dick, but like
lots of
how?
fun.
But you can only just be like a charismatic dick for so long. So I'm like, okay, like this script needed to give you more. Like,
Yeah, I guess so. You could have done with a bit more fleshing.
yeah. But look, it was entertaining for a bit, and I fell asleep at the end. And
Oh,
I was
did you?
Like, I went back and watched it anyway. You know, I don't know why.
I quite like the ending. I feel like they set up a lot of things that they're gonna go for the next. They're clearly gonna get a sequel, right? They're not gonna put 200 million into it and not do a sequel with those actors.
I guess it just depends how it does. It's Netflix, right?
Well, it got pretty good ratings in the first few weeks. So, as
Like,
in, like,
what do you mean,
it got like
a lot
watching
of people
hours.
watched?
They never release like any of the actual
Yeah,
numbers.
a lot
but
of-
they
a lot of
say
people
like
watched.
watching hours.
Look,
yeah.
I was super stoked to watch it, but I thought it would be more like espionage and less like classic Netflix.
Yeah.
Popcorn, fucking sugar.
It was nonsense.
You know. The other, I'll be quick. I started Peaky Blinders, the newest season.
Okay.
So far, like, can't really say yet. I finished a few books while I was on
Nice.
leave. I read
Any recommendations?
Where the Crawdad Sings.
Oh no,
and
the movie's
no,
coming out, isn't it?
I really, you know,
it
it's
looks awful.
I don't know anything about the movie.
I've seen that trailer like 8 times. It looks so bad.
I'll say this: you would not like this book.
Good.
I'll
I'll stay away from it.
I can say that confidently.
Cool.
It's
For what reason? Give our listeners a reason why I would hate this book.
it's just really self-indulgent about this like this one female character, and that's not to say I don't think you'd be like into. It's not because she's female, but it's just like kind of just like my attention span waned pretty quickly with like that element of it. It's like this is not realistic, and it's not, and it's becoming like almost she like lacks agency the whole book, and it's like I'm just kind of like well.
She's not a very developed character, or she's not strong.
She's developed and she's strong. It just felt, you know what actually, let me correct and change all that. Why I don't think you'd like it is I think it's just, I've never heard you mention anything else like this. Have you read To Kill a Mockingbird?
Yes.
Did you like that?
Years and years and years ago.
Did you like when you read it?
I was in school, so I was forced to. So it's.
I liked that.
Okay.
And this is just like a blatant kind of copy of that, but
Good.
like reduced
to its bare elements.
just not as
Yeah,
good.
Okay.
So it's just kind of like, it's like a copy of something that, someone was
I'm
on.
always so interested when you go away because you come back with some really interesting recommendations.
That's not
Well,
a
not
recommendation.
recommendations because I'm definitely not going to see that
But I
movie
finished
either.
the second thing I finished was the second book of the Name of the Wind series.
Oh, nice. The one that's never going to
Fucking
end.
so good, and now I'm like, why did I do that? I'm sitting here like a dickhead.
Has there been any word on the next book?
He kind of comments sometimes, but then like on like Reddit threads, like it's going well, but then it's like I could be lying anyway.
Oh wow!
Like so, it's like you're just an asshole.
Yeah.
So, like, but it's really good, and
we should do a book
If
episode.
I die
one day.
tomorrow, I'm glad I read it. But
Yeah, good.
yeah.
We should do a book episode one day. We should go into a book properly.
But like, what book?
Good question.
Yeah, we'll talk.
We'll
about
do a
that
book club.
Book club.
Well, like, final one then. I'll just wrap this out. I've got something that I'm going to lend to you at some point, and it's my new favorite thing in the entire world. I haven't had a lot of time to mess around with it recently, but you will fucking love this. You like retro games.
Depends.
Like
on the
any of
game.
us.
Yeah, it depends on the game.
You like games from things like the Mega Drive, or from like the PlayStation 1, or from like the SNES.
I did play these games.
You did. So
a
what I
long
bought
time ago.
was I bought this little handheld device, which is right over there. You can't see it. It is called a Miu version 2 Mini, and it is effectively like a mini game emulator, and it's no bigger than it's like a couple of inches long, it's a couple of inches wide, and 3 inches long. It is awesome. Like the screen is phenomenal. The power of this thing, it's playing like PlayStation 1 games on like no bigger than an
What's
old
an emulator,
Game Boy.
by the way?
It basically just runs old games.
So like, who gets the money for that?
No one. That's the point. It's probably illegal,
Oh,
but
is
it's
it?
amazing. It's the
Epic.
best thing I've owned in a long time, and
Epic.
I got fully into playing like Sonic, the old Sonics that were
Yeah.
good. Do you remember when Sonic was good?
Yeah.
And like I took it into the office, and friend of the show Ollie, oh my god, he fell in love with it. He
You tweet.
literally all lunch he was like Twitch. He kept putting it down to if anyone else wanted to mess around with it, and within like a second he had
Take
it
it
back
back.
in his hand.
he's
He
like-
played like Tekken. It's got everything.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's
Like,
pretty cool.
highly recommend. I'm gonna lend it to you at some point so you can have a play.
That's pretty cool.
In fact, my
you know,
part-
Gail would love that. I
She
should
would.
get her that.
Yeah. Well, they're like you can get them. I got that one off eBay. They're not that easy to get in Australia on eBay, but you can get them on Amazon pretty cheap. I think you'll really like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that is a good time to soiree on. We're back to the old school. To switch it up a little bit, let's move on with the show. So now what we like to do is we like to talk a little bit about a couple of bits of news that we've seen floating around in our hemispheres. Just
Only
floating
here,
around.
Only where there's no ozone. Yeah.
There's a couple of cool things that have happened while you've been away. You've probably noticed a lot of them.
Honestly, I probably missed a lot of them too. Mine are so random. So let's lead with yours.
I'll give you the top level of the rundown of the things I'll quickly talk about.
Marvel,
and
I'm sure.
You can let me know what you think.
There's so much.
Well, it was San Diego Comicon, so there was a lot of Marvel. We'll touch on that in a moment. There was also a Warner Brothers panel at Comicon. There is now a release date for Rick and Morty season 6, and also there's a release date for the Oppenheimer movie that we've talked about a little bit.
Okay.
Which one of those do you want to go with first?
Oppenheimer.
All right. So this is the new Chris Nolan movie that has every fucking actor in Hollywood in it. And I mean every single one. Everyone from Florence Pugh all the way through to Cillian Murphy. Like, you pick an actor.
But is it all the people that are always in his movies?
Yes, but also some new ones, like Robert Downey Jr. is in there, for example. And I don't think I've ever seen him in a Chris Nolan movie. Yeah, so everyone.
Yeah.
In fact, everyone except the people who are in The Grey Man. It looks interesting, man. They released like
is
a
the
teaser
protagonist
for it.
in it?
Good question. I haven't seen. He might be. I don't know.
Yeah.
But look, I post on our Instagram. We are Podcast Assemble on Instagram. Check us out.
Yeah.
We've been pumping out some cool stuff for a little while. If you want to get any other news updates, and so I posted that on there, and it's a little teaser. It's giving you some really deep vibes. Like, this is the man who held the world in his hands. It's good. It's very.
I would expect. Well, I was expecting dry comedy from Nolan
about Oppenheimer, the man who literally created the atomic bomb. Yeah, it's Cillian Murphy tripping over his own feet.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
I'm excited for this, man. It looks good. The release date.
I really want to be excited for it.
Okay.
But for some reason, like, Tenet has really turned me off Nolan recently. Yeah.
Do you think it was a bit like self-indulgent?
Not only that, I just wonder if he's still got it.
Ooh, don't say it.
It's mean to say, and I've done nothing with my life in comparison.
It's very true.
But like, I just, as somebody who enjoys movies, I haven't enjoyed the last few as much as the ones before.
Well, I think we've done 4 episodes of our Chris Nolan anthology.
Yeah.
I think we should do one more and wrap it up. I think we should wrap up with your favorite.
You can't wrap it up. He's still going.
Well, I mean, I'd like to move on to another director at some point and talk about another director's movies.
We could do that. We just let this go on in perpetuity. Yeah. Time is a flat circle.
For anyone who's new to the podcast,
Nolan, so
we literally have about 12 anthologies happening in the background now.
I would like to do Inception with you, though. So
we should do Inception at some point. What, do you have any news before we move on?
Matt Smith talks about the new Game of Thrones. What do you think he says?
I heard about this. I think I sent you this, actually.
Did you actually?
What was it?
He says that there might have been too much sex.
I think I sent you that.
It's like, bro, it's not even out yet. Like, there must be a lot of sex.
I mean, if it's anything compared to the first Game of Thrones.
But there's also a lot of sex in the book. So, like,
a lot of incest in those books.
Well, that as well. But
your favorite.
Yeah, totally. Totally, man.
Jamie and Cersei is your favorite. It's your power couple.
Anyway, I just thought it was funny. It's like, I wonder if they like full on go like overboard.
Surely they won't. It's not going to get like an 18 rating, is it? Surely not.
I don't know.
They want to get a big audience to it.
They're
not
not
going to
give
get
a
that
fuck. It's HBO. So I read that, and then I also read that the story will be different from the books, which I'm
good.
Kind of okay with.
Yeah, I'm fine
with it. I
with
don't want to have spoilers. If it's good for the storyline, that's good.
As long as they don't have Dave and Dan back.
Yeah,
Dave
fuck
and Dan?
those guys.
Is that the right names?
D&D.
D&D. The old Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah,
there was a Dungeons and Dragons trailer at Comicon, by the way, and it looked fun.
For like a movie?
Yeah, so they're doing a movie with Chris Pine. So one of the Chris's, the one who was in Star Trek.
I know. And
it's like, it's really quippy. It doesn't look like it takes itself very seriously. It looks fun. I'd be down to watch it.
Probably won't watch that.
Check the trailer out. You'll see. Yeah, I mean, you might watch the trailer and go, actually, yeah, give that a go.
Another random one I got for you. Oh, sorry, I'll
no,
shortly thereafter stop. Did you hear that Peter Jackson tried to use hypnosis to forget that he directed Lord of the Rings because he wanted to watch it like a true fan.
You know
the
what?
First time, I never actually vibe with something more.
I think
know what I
this
mean?
is
Like,
a,
it's
I
like-
think this is an episode we have to do at some point.
Yeah,
Movies that you wish you could forget so
you could watch them again.
rewatch
Yeah,
them. Yeah.
Well, his is a bit of a twist on that because he's like, I was just too close to it, so I can't
Course.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
But like, I actually vibed that. I was like, fuck this book I just read. I wish I could reread it for the first time.
There's so many
Yeah.
things I would love to do that with.
It's true.
There's always the question though as well. Like, would you like, for example, like you could say you want to remove the Dark Knight from your brain so you can rewatch the Dark Knight movie, but then you've got to say, well, actually, I'd have to remove the Dark Knight Rises as well because that builds on that character. So like, you'd have to, get around a few loopholes.
Semantics.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that we
Semantics.
assume that
Okay, all right.
one
So we're gonna
begets the
just be
other.
like straightforward.
Yes.
What's your top one? What would you remove if you could?
The top one I could remove. Well, the other part is like just to go off on your semantical thing. If you rewatched it and a bunch of stuff and you remembered a bunch of stuff that was influenced by it, would it hit the same?
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Like
Yeah,
after
yeah.
the fact, because you're kind of like, oh, but everyone like that's been done actually, and you're like, no, that was all inspired by the Dark Knight. So it's kind of like a dumb question to ask anyway. But my top one that I would
Wow, you really want to know
my top one that I would do. I don't know, man. I really really enjoy The Departed, but I
Oh yeah, that's a favorite.
don't know that like it would. It's one that I would do that for. I still
Okay.
will enjoy watching it just because the acting's so good.
That's fair.
Whereas I feel like seeing things for the first time, they have to kind of like surprise you. I was coming in thinking that would be fucking good, and it was good. So I don't know. It's
Okay.
a too hard a question for me to answer. Maybe Harry Potter.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
the
think
Harry Potter
the
books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I 100% agree with that. That was probably
Yeah.
the first time I ever thought about
Because
this.
it's just like such a nostalgic feeling.
hypothetical.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. I had one in my head. You said one I would love to be able to rewatch with completely fresh eyes. Is like Monty Python Quest for the Holy Grail. It's like that's my all-time favorite comedy. Like
I don't think I've ever fucking
it's
seen the whole
literally. Oh my god, it's
thing.
amazing.
So like you could watch
Shapes.
my face
Yeah,
as I watch it for the
just
first time.
just what I need to do.
Yeah.
Watching more of your face.
Yeah.
A couple of quick bits of news then before we move on. Like I say, Rick and Morty got a release date. Did you hear that? It's coming out September.
Nah.
I feel like season 5 burnt me a little bit. It wasn't. It was a
I
lot
just
of
like
things.
I just like am not about hyping this.
Nah,
It's like
I
pretty
feel like
good.
yeah,
It's not as good as everyone makes it out to be.
yeah,
I will watch it when it comes out. It's still a cartoon show.
yeah.
I
I feel like I feel like
that's where I'm
was
at with it.
I was
Like,
that guy before.
Yeah.
But season 5, I'm just like, you know what? I put it a bit in perspective, and I think that's what they want, though. I think they want fans to calm down a little bit
Yeah.
because they're a bit overzealous. Some of them.
Like it's a little. It's,
I admit
it's
I was
equal
one of
to
them.
like Archer for me, and Archer might be a bit higher because I actually, when Archer's at its peak humor, I laugh more than Rick and Morty.
Oh,
at its
really?
peak humor, because Rick and Morty's too like it's just a bit darker, which is
It's
not.
true.
There's nothing wrong with it, but like it's
I
just.
am the darker of us, so yeah, it
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
does resonate more with me.
I was born in it.
born in the dark.
Molded by it. You merely adopted the dark.
Anyway, couple of final bits of
Yeah.
news to move on from then. There was a Warner Brothers panel at Comicon, and apparently, I don't know if you heard this, but so obviously Warner Brothers got taken over by Discovery. Sorry, yes, Warner Brothers got taken over by Discovery, and they are gonna wipe the slate clean and aim for a new 10-year plan in the similar manner to how Disney did. So basically, they're gonna go like,
So,
oh fuck,
so they just like
we need to start again, guys.
they
Yeah.
Yeah, they're freaking dumb, huh? Like it was almost like there was a genius to their madness.
I know.
You know what I mean? Because they could just like because they just
But
weren't
they still made money.
because they weren't following
Yeah.
any plan. They could just keep releasing Joker
Weird
movies.
shit. Well,
You know what I mean?
They're gonna
And,
release
like,
another joke film anyway.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
And like it didn't have to matter, right? And there was like, as annoying as that was,
well,
there
everyone
was like,
wants the
but now it's
MCU
like
formula.
now they're gonna like evaluate them solely on this one criteria. Can you create like this interconnected, engaging world that affects each other? That's like a hard thing to do.
Yep.
And you can't just like rehash that and be like, I'll make another Batman.
It's
You know what I mean?
it's like golf, right? As soon as
Yeah.
you start putting pressure on your swing,
yeah,
it's gonna be a shit
Yeah.
swing. It's
And-
like don't put pressure on it. Just release something, see if people like it, and then maybe build from that.
And
Don't be going all.
and there's
10
no hope
years
for
on
them
me.
to like then be like change it again. Well, maybe they can just keep doing that because they've
Yeah.
been doing it. But
Well, I guess.
so what is it going to be? New characters, like new actors?
No. I mean, yeah, it's probably gonna be new actors. It'll be all the same. Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman will be probably the main ones again. Just 50, but then that's really
I just
weird.
won't watch it, man.
It's really weird because
I refuse.
yeah, but obviously they've got Aquaman and they've got the Flash movie just like sat there, and obviously I know why they're not releasing the Flash movie because Ezra Miller's gone fucking nuts.
I don't know what's happened since, but
a whole lot of things. But like they're obviously just sat there, and it's like, are they gonna release Aquaman 2? Can we update our rating scheme already? Can we do that? We want to update our famous rating scheme already.
that is why I'm mad at this.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's happening apparently, and then there was obviously the Marvel Comicon panel, which had a lot of things, and there was a lot of things they didn't announce. Remember when we used to make fun of them for being like, look at this blank slot.
Untitled Film 5.
Yeah. So they released the whole of
Release date TBD.
Yeah, Phase 6, and it's like there's 3 things on there. Cool. Like what?
Untitled Phase 4.
So many untitles.
Movie.
I wanted to make a video about how stupid that was.
Director TBD.
Yeah,
Actor
exactly.
TBD. A release date
Actors
TBD.
But they did announce there's 2 upcoming Avengers movies. Now that's a big deal. So they've got Avengers Kang Dynasty.
Who are the Avengers
and they have
these days?
Secret Wars.
Who's the Avengers these days?
Well, that's it.
Secret Wars is gonna be like the end game, right? Of the saga.
Of course. And Secret Wars in the comics, it's a big like
We've heard you talk about this.
you have
Yeah,
heroes versus villains, big
Yes,
old.
it's like
But there's
and versions of heroes.
There's a couple of them, yeah. So
And, yeah.
where they were making all these grandioso statements about people who could show up in Multiverse of Madness, they could actually show up in this.
Yes, they could.
Tom Cruise, for example. So apparently, well, we'll do one more Marvel thing. Did you see, while we're here, the trailer for Black Panther Forever?
I saw one of the first ones. Yeah.
The trailer for Black Panther Forever
yeah.
looks insane.
Yeah,
It looks amazing.
It was a really. I mean, the music looks dope as well. It sounds good.
Yeah,
as
the
well.
whole
It was-
thing.
everything that you thought was gonna be dope about that trailer is dope. The big question is, what the fuck is the plot about? Which
Well, Namor, the Submariner, is coming
It's
up.
gonna be
He's their
interesting.
Aquaman. He's coming up. And apparently in the comics, there's been beef between Wakanda and Atlantis. It's not Atlantis in this, but and the Sea Dwellers, as long as time,
the fish people.
the fish peoples. And yeah, so he's apparently in the comics mutant as well, one of the first mutants.
Sick.
Bringing more mutants into the MCU.
Sick. We
Yes.
got yes. I mean,
But look, if you're interested in hearing me complain about the MCU, I released a video on YouTube while you were away. I was going to do a lot more than I did. Didn't get around to it. But this one is just called Why I Hate the MCU. I don't actually hate the MCU.
but it's fun.
It's part of the conceit, isn't it?
Fun,
But yeah, it's good fun. Hit it, have a look. We're just Podcast Assemble on YouTube too.
Will do.
Any final thoughts before we move on?
I guess I have a question for you after all that Marvel news.
Please.
How do we feel, about Phase 4 and how it's done, like how it's performed, making us care about the characters that are supposed to drive this entire next multiverse saga? And when I say that, compare that to, the first couple the first phase of the Infinity Stone saga.
Well. Someone's
How
not
do you
watched my YouTube video.
No, I have not.
Honestly, I'm bored.
Do you care about anyone?
I've even lost a bit of interest in Thor, which is, really
Wow,
difficult to
and
do.
this is spoilers for me because I haven't even seen.
No,
the
it's
new one.
not. Like it's a good movie. We'll probably talk about it when it comes
Yeah.
to streaming. It's fine. Like I just think that the movies they made during lockdown really suffered. So this is the last one I think they made fully during lockdown when everything they literally couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Like other than sit on a green screen and create these movies. You can tell how much they suffered. Like
really,
this-
it's that. So you take it from that angle.
and I think so. All right, here it is. Right, so in my YouTube video, plug again. I found that there's some stats. Right, so Phase 1 of the MCU, there was around 12 hours of content.
Yes.
Phase 2 of the MCU was about the same.
Too much of a good thing.
Phase 3 went up to about 24 hours. Understandable. They increased it to an extra movie a year, and they had the 2 big ass Avengers movies.
Yeah.
Phase 4, which is only a year and a half in ish, maybe slightly more, already over 50 hours of content. 50. That's too much. That's just too much content. Like that's including all the TV stuff, the animated stuff, the movies, and I just don't have the capacity anymore.
It begs the question: which of the stuff is the actual homework that needs to be done?
Well, yeah,
It can't
exactly.
all be. You know what I mean? It cannot all be.
And there's things that so they're obviously going down a route of two different angles. They want their street level heroes who are going to be your Daredevils, your Spider-Mans, that type of thing. And there's going to be cosmic heroes, which we're not 100% sure yet, but obviously Thor, Guardians of the Galaxy, even though that trilogy's finishing. Probably Nova at some point, maybe Adam Warlock, things like that. They're going down these two routes, which is great. And you can probably, at some point, it's going to be clearly delineated, and then they'll cross over for the Avengers. Great. But at the minute, it's just so, like, it's just, everything's up in the air. They're just throwing shit at the wall. And
It
hoping for
doesn't
the
really
best.
feel connected yet.
No,
at this point.
nothing, no.
And not only that, I don't care about anyone. I think it would really help for Daredevil and Spider-Man to bro out. I would care a lot more.
Absolutely. But that's going to be tough to do because obviously Spider-Man's still Sony property.
Yeah, I know. But like that, I think that's what's missing. Like they're missing like those three primary characters that we care about. Like I can buy Doctor Strange. I can buy Spider-Man. Like that's the movie that hit the hardest of this last phase.
Yeah, for sure.
I can buy that. I need one more. I don't know who it is. It's not Shang-Chi yet.
No, not for me either.
It's not.
Interestingly,
Who else is there?
Interestingly, I rewatched the Doctor Strange movie, The Multiverse of Madness, on the small screen. So just at home with my partner, you know, getting her up to date with the MCU, and it was way better on a second viewing. Like I think
I enjoyed it on the first viewing.
Yeah, but like even better than that. Like I think it's a case of there was less expectation around it, so I could just sort of enjoy it for what it was, which was like a interesting, slightly horrified Marvel movie. And I think that's maybe the problem. Like everyone's expectations are so high going into like the cinemas nowadays.
Well, also like MCU is like it's a product of their own success, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But I just think that they are missing it, and maybe that's what Fantastic Four will bring.
Maybe, but that's not till phase 6 now. I think.
You know, you were hoping that like Eternals would bring it. It didn't really.
No,
and the one person, Kit Harington, that like did well in that movie was like barely in it.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm waiting for the guys that I wanna and girls that I wanna like root and care about.
Yeah, for sure.
There's just not enough of them right now.
And I think one thing as well that we've talked about a couple of times, and we'll get off this in a minute. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
But I think one thing that we've talked about is that they are clearly trying to build like a couple of different Avengers teams, including like a young Avengers.
But it's dumb, isn't it?
I say this in my YouTube video, like, who is it for? It's not for me. I think I just have to be. I think I just have to be comfortable with the fact that I don't have to watch everything they put out.
I haven't watched
Ms.
everything.
Marvel. I didn't watch it. We watched like the first 2 episodes, and like it was interesting. I loved what they're doing with the cultures. I thought the characters were fantastic in terms of how they were being portrayed. It was bright. It was colorful. I enjoyed like everything about it, but it just wasn't for me. Like I think I said this before. So like I fell off it because it was aimed at younger.
There's just too much good
people
shit out
younger
there.
than me. I'm old. I get it, but it was like there's too much. 50 hours is too much stuff.
There's too much good stuff out there to be watching that. Anyway,
look, if you guys disagree with us, if you think there isn't too much stuff, if you liked Ms. Marvel, let us know. You can find us at Podcast Assemble on Instagram or the Podcast Assemble at gmail.com.
Which
Tell
makes
Dre
us
off.
Yeah, tell me off. Which
for asking provocative questions.
Yeah, that takes us on 20-minute tangents.
That's fine.
Which leads me to the great content that's out there that's non-Marvel, the main topic of today.
Non-Marvel.
What did we watch, Tommy?
We watched what was recommended to us by a few friends of the show, including friend of the show Jacob and friend of the show Matt. Thank you for the recommendation and sending the trailer however long ago. We watched a movie called Bullet Train.
We did.
Do you want to preface it a little bit?
Yeah, we watched. I mean, do you want the plot? Or are we doing dumb summaries first? Let's see. Should we? I think we should do dumb summaries.
Let's go straight into dumb summaries.
Yeah,
I can't remember if I did one, but you go.
If Rush Hour and Snatch had a baby with a Cali hippie and an honorable samurai.
I like that. A Cali hippie.
Yeah, it's a fucking good movie, mate.
We'll get into it.
Yeah.
Mine is a lot simpler than that, and I think I may have forgotten to finish it, but I just said, if Kill Bill was written and directed by Ryan Reynolds.
I guess, kind of, yeah.
It's that quippiness, it's that type of humor. So before we get into it then, do you want to guess for me what the IMDb score is for this?
God, that's hard. I think it should be like an 8.5, but it won't be. It will be a 7.9.
It's a 7.5. It's not bad. It's kind of middling. Rotten Tomatoes percentage?
It's I saw this, so I'm cheating. It's 78.
It's not. It's
It's
54.
It's 78 audience, 54 critic.
It's 54. Yeah, 54
Yeah.
critic. We go with the critic on this. And Metacritic.
But I thought that was the reason I mentioned is because I thought that was a pretty good representation of like how
I agree. Completely
Yeah.
agree. I think critics
It
would
would've
look
been
down on this
received.
movie.
Yeah.
And Metacritic finally?
660.
God, wow, you're going real high for this. It's 49.
I like this movie.
I do too. It was directed by David Litch, who did John Wick, Deadpool 2, Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw. A very action-heavy director, very gung-fu.
Yeah.
Gun-fu? I never said that right. And the cast is just phenomenal. How they got all these people in a room, I've got no idea. It's Brad Pitt, Joey King, it's Aaron Taylor Johnson, it's Brian Tyree Henry, who you know from The Eternals. It's got Hiroki Sadana, who's obviously Mortal Kombat, Wolverine. He's amazing.
Yeah.
It's got I Will Find Him.
It's got our great Michael Shannon.
Michael Shannon, who
As the
pops
White
up,
Death.
who's amazing. Sandra Bullock's in this. Bad Bunny's in this. Zazie Beetz is in this. It's got Karen Fukunaga, who you know from The Boys, who's just like a random cameo.
Bro, it has Masi Oka,
Who is?
the conductor, who's also a hero from
I think you said that.
Hero from Heroes.
He's
Anyway.
the dude from Heroes.
Yeah.
And before we move on from cast then, do you want to preface the point and why we talk about goofiest IMDb pick?
The point, okay, yes. The point is every now and again when we're scrolling through, back in the day when we were scrolling through IMDb to prep or talk about the podcast, we'd find a random headshot that just didn't quite add up. And it's really just, if you're imagining IMDb as this great, you're an actor, you're trying to make a name for yourself, and this is a great platform for you to get your name out there. These IMDb headshot conversations are all about why did you think this is the one that you should have
Yeah.
picked?
Why is this your IMDb picture?
So week to week we do a battle of the
We do.
goofiest IMDb pictures, and really you got to frame it as this is supposed to be your headshot for the world as an actor, and this is what you put. That's what defines goofy.
This is what you put?
The context,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's supposed to be a professional shot.
Not many of them are. I'm not
in-
sure you'd be surprised with that.
Not in this category,
Now-
at least.
Interestingly, I went with one that wasn't as goofy as normal this week, but just a bit like, why on earth does this actor
Yeah.
have this IMDb picture? So this week's challenger is none other than Mr. Channing Tatum, and that IMDb picture is
That's
just
his IMDb.
weird.
There's so many better pictures of him.
Any picture is better than that.
That is weird.
The
He's just like
picture-
getting interviewed at a rave.
Yeah.
Like-
the picture where you accidentally open your phone on and the camera's facing you.
Yeah.
That's better than this picture.
Yeah, that's
He
fair.
looks like he's tweaking, man. It's
Yeah.
such an odd picture. Like, look
That
at his
is fair.
face. He's a fun cameo in this. But you can let me know then, is this IMDb picture of Channing Tatum better or worse than our current MVP, who you remember as Frost Giant from one of the ones while you were away, Mr. Pat Duke? Do you remember Mr. Pat
I
Duke?
forgot about Pat, but how could I? Because it's creepy. I gotta give it to Tatum though.
Just remind.
Yeah,
the-
I gotta
was-
remind. Sorry, I forget to. This is not a viewing experience. Yeah, he's just really bent over and happy about it.
He's a Wiggles guy.
It looks like he's leaning in for a group shot of the Wiggles, and
Yeah.
everyone else is cut out. But he's also got like this '70s shirt on that you'd probably appreciate.
I would love it. Yeah, you're right.
Um,
I love a party shirt.
with a bit of a curly fro. I don't really know.
He's a
man.
weird looking bloke.
Yeah, it's just a weird position.
So
isn't
you're
it?
gonna go with Channing just on the
basis of how big he is and how just flat mediocre that picture is.
so mediocre.
Yeah, like surely you've got a publicist, Channing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
I had
I can justify old what's that guy's name that we were just looking at?
Pat Duke.
I can justify Pat, right? That guy
Yeah.
doesn't have a publicist. You have a publicist.
Of course.
Get on this. You're
He
paying her
doesn't-
a lot of money.
Probably a lot of money.
I'm
At least
assuming
a PR,
it's a her, but
at least a PR person.
Yeah.
I have a question for you,
Yes.
really quickly before we move on. Do you think we should do like a bracket of IMDb pictures? I mean, we are on episode I think 74 now. We should have at least a good
build a bracket. That sounds like a lot of
40 of these.
We could try.
We could do like a separate YouTube thing.
We could do it. I think it should almost be like a Instagram poll. Kind of like the
Love it.
corporate bros like tech
Love
battle.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course we
Plug your
do
corporate bro.
have we do have precedents for this. I was on Super Smash Bros. A couple of weeks ago. Those guys do fantastic brackets, all about different fictional characters.
Ah.
We can do it for these terrible IMDb pictures, perhaps. What we'll do is then we will put a current MVP and opponent on our Instagram and let you guys let us
Have a
know
little
who you
vote.
think
Vote
is
it out.
better or worse. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this goddamn movie.
Let's do it.
You up for it?
I am.
You
Should
want
I
to
give
go?
it-
You want to go?
I'll go.
You want to go?
No, actually, I'm a peaceful guy. I'm a ladybug.
How interesting.
I want to.
You know this is based on a book, right?
I didn't know that.
By Kotaro Izaka.
Is it true to the book? Did you do any research?
I didn't do that much research. I just know that it's based on a book.
So I guess like the high level is, or we follow a train filled with assassins. In particular, Ladybug is our first.
Mr. Bradley Pittle.
Is our first insight. It kind of almost like, I don't know if he's a pacifist assassin, but he's definitely a peace first style assassin.
He's an assassin who's been to one of those yoga retreats.
Yes,
and
that's
is
a good way to
just
put it.
like, I'm so zen.
Yeah,
I don't
he's
wanna
a zen
hurt
out
anyone.
assassin.
I'm
and-
happy now. Oh, yeah.
And we find we follow him through a train filled with other assassins as they battled out with really an unclear goal.
Yeah, that's the thing I like about this because
Yeah.
they've all got slightly different objectives. It's not like capture the flag. It's like everyone's like, maybe I'll kill this
With
guy
a-
and take the brief.
with a bit of a confusing, goal
Yes.
for all of them, really.
Yes. And the thing I loved about this movie was, and you called it actually quite early on, it's very Guy Ritchie.
Yeah,
It's like you sort of thrown into this world a little bit like John Wick in a sense, where like you're just like assumed to believe that all of this is just normal. Like this is normal.
You just have to
these
accept
guys.
it.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. And you don't get any backstory immediately. What happens is you get these like flashbacks that drag you right out of the film, throw you into the flashback. You watch it, you get that hit of information, then you're thrown back to where you were and you carry on.
Tarantino does that sometimes too. So it's stylistically, it's not that similar to Tarantino, other than that, like he kind of does those weird little offshoot intros of like a past act a character is done to accentuate the moment that you're viewing in the present.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It's a non-linear narrative,
Yeah.
effectively. And I think that worked really well for this. Like the one thing that I wrote down in big capitals was, this movie is not like breaking any new ground. Like it's not challenging the zeitgeist in any way, shape, or form. But it's just a lot of fun.
No, but that doesn't mean it's not a good movie. Like was Snatch challenging the zeitgeist?
It was very different. I don't remember any films like Snatch at the time, other than
That's a
Lock,
good
Stock,
point.
which
Maybe
was
back
his-
then it was more
yeah.
original.
Yeah, I think that sort of
That's fair.
yeah, but like this is not
Yeah.
in any sense, but in a good way. Like I think it leans on a few like tropes that it does in fun ways, but at the same time, like at the same time, it isn't breaking that ground. It's
Super self-indulgent.
yeah.
Though.
Oh my
But
god!
it's like-
Towards the end, it gets
Yeah,
way self-indulgent.
Yeah, but overall, like for the first 2/3 of the movie, it's like
Yeah.
really, I'm totally fine with that.
yeah, completely.
Because it's like so well executed.
Enjoyably, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there are two, from my perspective, and stop me if you think I'm wrong. There are lots of characters that we're introduced to. Like I said, there's the Aaron Taylor Johnsons and Brian Tyree Henry working together. That's from the trailer. There are a bunch of other people, but there are two real key plotline kind of plots you would call them. There's no real plot to it, but like other than these guys trying to stay alive. There's Brad Pitt's sort of assassin who's trying not to assassinate people
doing his best
on a job.
What's the word? He's like an amicable
Yeah,
and really like
hard to describe.
what like I'm trying to think of. There's a word for it, and I can't think of it.
Well, you think of it while we're
Yeah.
talking. And the other one is, and the other kind of side to this is, there's a father who's on the train who's sort of grieving for his son who's been pushed off a roof. And the reason he's on this train is because he's looking for the person who did it.
Yes.
Now, the story basically throws you in with all these characters and weaves their backstories into, so it goes back to weave the story forward, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You have to know where they came from to know where they're going to go. And I like that. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
And all their backstories sort of crescendoed at the same time, interestingly.
That part annoyed me
Yes.
kind of towards the end.
We'll
But-
talk about that.
But in general, like I think that it's just like a really, really funny movie.
Oh my god, the
It's
humor
hilarious.
the
movie.
humor was on.
Super.
There was a
funny.
point, and I don't know if you noticed. I hoped you didn't at the time, because for some reason, of all empty spots in that cinema, there was a couple sat right next to us. If you noticed, they could have sat anywhere. They
Yeah.
It chose to remain.
Well,
a 6.
no, it actually got more filled as the day went on.
Okay,
yeah.
I must have missed that.
Or as the
But there
previews went
was
through.
a bit that was like laugh out loud funny to the point where I took a swig of my water at the exact moment
You spit it
something
out.
and it went fucking everywhere. Like I had this big furry jumper on, the one I was wearing earlier. I had this big furry thing on, and literally it was covered. And I was like, "Fuck! I hope he didn't notice that."
What, like the rain inside?
Yeah.
Coming
It was
down?
like we were in a 4D cinema experience. And it was raining. The humor was great. Like, I thought it was like it wasn't overdone. And I think when you watch
There were parts that the humor wasn't. No.
when you watch like a Ryan Reynolds movie, like I was joking about before, or an MCU movie in a lot of cases now, the two only types of movies people see at the cinema, it's often too quippy. And I think this got the balance right between the dark humor, the quips, and just letting people play out their roles.
I agree up to a point,
Okay.
and I'm kind of spoiling one of my 3 words, but I think that Brad Pitt, sometimes some of his ad libs went a bit too long. Like you could tell they were ad libs, and he was like playing the like, I'm cool, we're communicative, like the word that I can't figure out. And it was just like it went on a bit too much. And
I think I must have spaced out.
A couple times I was like, that should have been a quick edit out. Like, but it's Brad Pitt, so they're gonna let him ad
They're
lib.
going to let it go.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
What do you think of his
And he
performance
produced
then? Do you
it.
think he was good?
Overall, good.
Yeah, I think
Overall,
he was really good.
But he was the one where a couple of them was like, he's almost playing himself too much here. He's bugging me.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I personally really liked the Aaron Taylor Johnson and Brian Tyree Henry. That's too many names for 2 people.
I was going to say Aaron Taylor's Johnson is the dumbest name ever.
Oh my God. Yeah, okay, I get it. Bad.
Oh,
I took too long for that.
Good. Anyway, we'll cut that.
Yeah.
Aaron Taylor's Johnson is the dumbest name ever. And
but Tangerine and Lemon, the supposed brothers.
yes,
I really liked their dynamic.
They were so good.
They
were
were a
the
lot of
best
fun
part
together.
of the movie, for sure.
I'm not sure. I think Brian Tyree Henry is actually English, and that was an awful accent. It was so bad.
He's not actually English.
One of them is. Is Aaron Taylor Johnson English?
Aaron Taylor Johnson is English.
Okay, right. Because
Of some kind.
his
Maybe
was
he's Welsh.
pretty
I
bad
don't
as
fucking
well.
know. But he's like, see, I didn't think that his was bad, but I definitely kind of noticed that the other guys was kind of layered on.
Yeah, it was.
But apparently he worked really hard on it, and a lot of people are saying it's good. So I don't know. Maybe you just are too. You've never said any American with an English accent.
I think they just try and do this London accent in it, and it's like that's not what English people sound like.
That's what Aaron Taylor Johnson did.
That's what I mean.
English.
It's like his accent was bad anyway.
Yeah.
I think in terms of like other performances, I liked the little cameos you got. We mentioned a couple. You obviously had the dude from Heroes. You obviously had Karen Fukuhara. It was just fun.
You had Channing Tatum or
Channing just in there for no reason.
IMDb picture.
Sandra Bullock in there for some reason.
Yeah.
Sort of a spoiler, but
Channing's
not.
is the weird. Why he must be into weird sex shit because there's so many movies that kind of jab at that.
Do they?
Think about like End of the World where they make him just like
a gimp. Yeah. Maybe. I mean, maybe just he's the only one who's happy to take the piss out of himself.
Yeah, maybe that's it too.
He probably just doesn't give a fuck. He's like, yeah, right.
But it's kind of like it's happened enough that I'm like,
yeah. I like that cameo. It was weird. And
Yeah.
so basically, what was going
stuff?
on? Yeah. So basically, what happens is at the beginning, Brad Pitt's character enters the train. He's got a job. He's supposed to pick up a briefcase, and then you have introduced to all these other characters going along who are mostly
assassins.
Also assassins.
By the end of it, I think all of them.
So yeah, what happens is the train gets emptier and emptier as they go down. You don't know this at the time. Actually, we called it out. We said we were like, what are real people doing on this? But it happens that people were getting off and the tickets were getting thinner and thinner, so it could just be the assassins on the train. And we'll talk about why in a minute. But like you were introduced to the Aaron Taylor Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry, Tangerine and Lemon as a couple of brothers.
They're kind of like
quotation
adopted
marks.
brothers of some kind.
Yeah, and they were trying to transport this big Yakuza influence's son along the train and keep
along with the ransom money
the
that
ransom
was given
money as
to
well.
like actually capture him by someone else.
And that's when the first conceit happens and the first couple interact because obviously Brad Pitt picks up the briefcase and then
Brad Pitt's job is to get this briefcase, which he knows nothing about, which is obviously connected to these guys' jobs.
Exactly.
So you're like, okay, something's weird's happening here.
And I quite like had that built.
And then like right after that, Brad Pitt almost gets killed by some guy that he remotely remembers from his past in a different assassination job.
I thought the wolf character was a bit odd.
It was, but that was kind of the funny part.
Yeah, it was very Kill Bill, that one. It was a bit like, it was just this dude who didn't really say anything. But then like his body, like, so Brad Pitt kills
it's like
the
used
wolf
throughout
guy
the
straight
entire
away.
movie
Yeah.
once he dies.
He is like a prop for the rest of the movie. It's great. I don't know if
good.
we're spoiling things with that, but he is. Like, that's what and like he finds out about some other assassins from it, and it's real fun. I liked it. That dude's, I think he's either a rapper or something.
He's in music somehow.
And he is like so over the top in this. It's great. I like that their characters kind of all went back to that wedding as well.
Yeah.
I think that's in the
Well, a lot
trailer
of
too.
them,
Yeah. Any standout performances from your side?
Yeah, I think it has to be Aaron Taylor Johnson and like Lemon and Tangerine. They were so good.
They were good fun.
And just like on it, you made fun of his accent, but I didn't think it was that bad with Tangerine, or is it Lemon?
Both of them.
Well, I'm talking about Lemon, black guy.
Tyree Henry.
His whole Thomas the Train Engine.
Oh, so funny.
Is so fucking
so
funny.
Interesting.
So basically, he classifies people based off characters from Thomas. It's not even the tank; it's the tank engine.
Yeah.
And so he'll just like label them and evaluate their character and evaluate his decision on how he's going to deal with them based off of these 5 characters.
That's so weird.
And it's just like
It's so weird.
If you've seen that, one of the characters that's like I guess a villain. I saw it as a kid. I don't remember. Diesel.
That does come back at the end though.
Yeah.
I like how that comes back.
It came back. It was like a theme through the movie.
It's good, like kind of like, not, I wouldn't go as far as world building, but it's good character building. In that,
It's just hilarious.
But like thinking of the world building, like I think I mentioned it a moment ago, it is a bit John Wick-esque. Like you are kind of thrown in. You are expected to just believe that all these assassins could just be getting away with this with civilians all around them. What do you think of the world building in that respect?
I think that like its tone is pretty much the same way throughout. And it's moved so fast, that you never really have
like a bullet train.
Honestly, it's like that's probably
I've missed you. All my weirdness is coming out now. I've not had an outlet for this.
No, that's
like
a
4 weeks.
It was for sure meant like the speed and pace of the movie aligned to the name for sure. And
but it wasn't rushed.
No,
it was fast paced, but it wasn't rushed.
And there were slow moments, but like. I guess like you were kept off your feet with what was going on so much that you never stopped to think like, why would this happen in this train, and like what would these people do? Like you just didn't think about that because
you did think about that at one point because you literally said it to me.
When
you leaned over to me and says like, what are the normal people doing at this point? Like what
but that was at the end, and that like or like 3/4 through, which spoiler alert, we'll talk about later.
Yeah,
there's that they kind of give you they give themselves an out there.
Yeah, I quite like that.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a
it's just like thinking about it,
Yeah,
just thinking about it, giving that. But
they clearly had thought one step ahead. Yeah, because I think the conceit was said the exact moment you turn around to me and ask that question.
Yeah. But overall, like it's like the pacing's really good, and there's slow moments, but the slow moments are like the dialogue's so good, and the acting's so good that you don't even it's not like it's forcing it. It's not like it's pushing this movie to be something it's not. It's like still kind of this witty, off balance. Quickly things are changing.
Off balance is such a good word for this
movie, and
because it does keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
Like it flits between characters, and like yes, there's POV characters, but at the same time, it's constantly bouncing between other people's, and you're seeing their backstories and going, oh yeah, that's interesting. And then they intersect, and you're like, it's that off balance. It's like, oh, they intersected there. That's interesting.
It keeps you interested in the characters because you're learning more about them as they're doing all these crazy things.
Yes. That's interestingly one thing that I haven't found in a lot of the new MCU movies. I'm just not interested in the characters.
No, it just kind of feels like there's like big swaths of the movie that like are just cookie cutter placed there where you're supposed to watch. Whereas like,
let's not talk about the MCU.
But I'm saying like the fighting moved the plot, or the fighting was interwoven with like amazing comedy. Think of like each fight scene, the quiet room fight scene.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Like
that's in the trailer.
Constant comedy while you're in a fight, right? About them fighting in this quiet train room without anyone noticing. But like
just the action in general was great. But that scene specifically, like the use of all the different. In fact, you know what? Through the whole film, the use of props to like have fights and be like engaging.
Yeah.
So the bit, for example, he just shoves the golf club through the door.
Yeah.
And it creates this blockade, and the dude's like, fucking shoots the door. It's great. It's amazing.
And well, just like without spoiling it, I'm gonna name some fights and just think about every single one of these had its own like tone and humor in it and moved the plot forward.
Sure.
Quiet room fight, bar cart fight.
Ah, very fun.
Apology fight.
I can't remember what that one is, but
very end.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
when Lemon and what's his name are making up.
Sure.
Or is it Lemon? Yeah, it's Lemon. And then the only one that was kind of like, but it still had its own tone, but was not really necessarily funny, was Samurai Fight.
Yeah, the final
Yeah,
fights.
yeah.
Yeah. You're right. It did. It all had its moments. I really like that. We're introduced to a character partway through who uses the venom of a what's this?
Forgot about that one.
Yeah, it's not a basilisk, it's boom slang snake to kill her victims, and it's really interesting that you've been seeing that the whole way through, but you've just not connected it together as a string of contained events all from the same thing, and it's just really fun. And that fight scene alone, where it's the only thing she's trying to do is stab him with this needle, and like that's the whole fight scene. Really interestingly shot and done, and how he gets out of it, like when he's been stabbed by really fun.
Yeah, should we talk about action and that kind of stuff? Because we're kind of getting into it.
We are talking about action.
The choreography was super good. It was like reminded me of, like, as I said, Rush Hour, My Dumb Summary, like how they wove comedy and like operated with props, like you're saying, and then just like the tight spaces. Yeah,
it's great.
Like they made you, they were fighting tight spaces, and you felt it the way the fights happened and how they were choreographed.
Now, not this. This is too far, but I feel like it had as much care. Not saying it's as good as, but I think it had the same amount of care as like The Raid. You know the movie The Raid?
I don't know it.
It's amazing. It's contained tight spaces, and they're going up through buildings. It's got that much care to it that it feels like it's like everything, every detail is thought out, all the way down to the fact that the whole conceit of the movie, they finally call it out at the end. It's great.
Yeah, and they were talking about like, apparently the actors were super involved in that. Like during one point, they're like, "Should we shove these chopsticks in his nose?" Because they're in like the food cart area. You know, it's like
very everything everywhere.
Apparently, they were super involved, and I David Leitch did all that
great.
stuff, and it's really good.
What do you think of the music? I thought it was.
I wrote down that the soundtrack was pretty funny. Like,
it was great.
Matched the mood of the movie. Yeah. Like when the songs hit, you'd be like kind of cracking up, but also like amped.
I think they used the silence and just the fight choreography noises,
and a lot of them were like Japanese versions.
That's the point,
I think, which was really cool.
I like that a lot. Look, let's shimmy on then. I mean, we've talked about the CGI; it was crap. The tones and themes. Were there any? Did you say?
Yeah, luck and fate.
Yeah, okay.
Or luck versus fate, I should say. Like, I think there's a pretty. I'm gonna butcher the line, but there's like a line by the main samurai dude towards the end of the movie where he's talking to Brad Pitt, who's like, "I am like the most unlucky dude," because every time like he goes on a job, a bunch of people die, and he's like totally trying to be like a communicative, non-violent assassin where possible. And there's a line that says something like, "You never know what bad luck you had avoided, like caused you to avoid some terrible outcome."
Yeah,
and so it's kind of just like, you know, there's a constant theme of like just take the good with the bad. Like,
there's a lot of fatherhood in there as well.
Yeah.
Like that, everyone seems to be a father of someone in this.
Yeah, but I don't know. I would actually argue that's like one of the bad parts.
The weaker tones. Yeah, I'd say so too. Yeah. All right. 3 best and 3 worst. What we do here is we talk about 3 reasons why you might want to see this movie in a good way, and 3 reasons why you might not want to see this movie in a bad way. That doesn't make sense. I don't know why I said it that way.
Without spoiling.
Without spoiling, before we get into spoilers.
It's an amazing character chemistry.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
And then acting. The choreography was, again, not an MC movie where you're just seeing a fight and it's like, oh, I guess that's well choreographed. It's like it was well choreographed around the plot and the humor.
Yep.
Like the plot devices were involved, the humor like drove it, and kind of mixed up the pace. And then overall, man, it was just a really fun movie.
Yeah,
just entertaining. All the elements came together to make it a fun film.
I completely agree. It's so much fun at times.
Yeah.
I have Bradley Pitley. Just
Bradley Pitley,
the conflicted hitman. It's just delightful. Like the way he does it, like he's constantly like, I don't want to hurt anyone, but then he is hurting people like the whole way through. Like even when he's trying not to, he's still it's great. Like it's well executed. It's nothing new, but it's fun. I thought the conceit's keeping him on the train. So like at every stop on the bullet train, Brad Pitt's Ladybug would try and get off, but there was always something that was stopping him. It was
kind of almost like a cartoon.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. And I really enjoyed that because it was a case of the first thing you say is just get off. Yeah. And he can't, because every time he tries to,
and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, exactly. And it's always like, oh god. And my last one's just the humor is great in this. Like, I spat my drink out. It's that.
He
It's
literally
not.
did.
It's not that funny, but it is funny.
Yeah, no, it is. It's that funny. Like there were moments where you're like, if you weren't prepared, obviously, like
I was
yourself.
clearly not prepared.
Yeah,
Neither was my jacket.
it kind of felt like I should
Worst?
say 3 worst. Yeah, it did kind of feel like the plot became a bit too self-indulgent towards the end,
Yeah,
and like
absolutely.
honestly, sometimes, and I'll talk about it in spoilers, but like sometimes like the multi-threaded, like what's the word for this?
Marionette.
The marionette, like it was all too perfect and too
Yeah,
intertwined
agreed.
and too convenient.
We'll
and
talk
easy.
about that.
Yeah. I also thought Brad Pitt at times, like I already talked about it, his ad lib moments could have been cut. Like he was a bit too much at times for me, but overall it was great. And then the third act just kind of drags.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think
wouldn't
gets
you
a bit
agree?
CGI in the final act.
Yeah, it just kind of drags. It's like it didn't need to be that way. It'd be better without it.
Well, I've got I've already said it, but like you're not getting anything new with this movie. Like it's not changing anyone's like opinion of cinema. Like it's a lot of fun. It's big dumb, but it's not pushing anything forward. I've also said there's almost too many like Chekhov's guns in this. I don't know if you noticed that.
Well, there's the boom, but they were used in unique ways, I think.
Yeah, I agreed. I liked
the
what
boom
they did
slang.
with all of them, and there was the gun, and then there's
the gun, the boom
briefcase.
slang, the briefcase.
And after a while, I was like,
there was the bulletproof vest. Oh, I gotta stop because I'm spoiling things.
But it's interesting because I feel like it had to pay off so much at the end. I was like, how the fuck are they going to fit all those things in? Like even the tangerine reference got paid off at the end. It's not even a reference. It's just a thing. And yeah, I was a bit like, they either painted themselves so many things they had to do them, or they were like, let's just do everything.
Yeah, but it helped because you're just like constantly juggling things in your head. I think it helped to like the kind of chaos of the movie.
Off balance, did you say? Yeah. And the last one was, it was just a little cliche at times, just a little bit. Like I felt there was some bits of it I was like, oh.
It was definitely cliche. Well, there was like the cliche parts almost didn't fit the movie. I was like,
yeah,
why? You know, and we'll talk about it.
All right. So our final question is what we did a long time ago. We decided that the most average movie we could possibly think of is the movie Aquaman 2018. Now we don't do 5 stars. We don't do 10 bullet trains out of 7 bullet trains. We just asked the question: is this
on
movie
time or delayed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is this movie better or worse than the most mediocre movie we can think of? DL.
I would say it's definitely like quite significantly better.
I would say it's better too.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think for all the reasons we've talked about, but also because like, if you remember back to Aquaman, I can't remember a single action scene in that movie that isn't a CGI mess.
No, or I just can't even remember a single scene of action that it all blends together.
This has memorable action. It has memorable characters. It's big dumb fun, and
I don't even want to call it dumb because it's thoughtful.
Okay, it's thoughtful. It's big fun.
Yeah, it's big fun.
It's big fun. It's a lot of fun. All right. Do you want to do a few little spoiler bits?
Yeah, I guess like
let's do it.
Big spoiler is like the person who hired everyone on the train, all these assassins, to do all these different jobs, is the big bad baddie that we talk about, the White Death, who's originally hired somebody to pick up his son.
Correct.
He also hired all these other people because it was his main goal for the whole thing was to get revenge. Is that really what it was, to get revenge on everyone that was involved and all the assassins? That were involved in the death of his wife.
Well, it's interesting because...
Which is, again, like the marionette thing. It's like, really?
Well, much like a Tarantino or like we talked about, like a Guy Ritchie film, there's stories within stories within stories in this. And I talked... The reason why I was very specifically called out the 2 plot lines at the beginning, there's the Brad Pitt one, which is kind of this meandering, funny take on a guy who's just trying to be semi-pacifist, but at the same time failing, versus the story whereby it's this dad who's had his son pushed off the roof. That is the actual story you should be focusing on, not the Brad Pitt one, because that's the one that leads to you finding out what's actually happening. So the guy who's had his kid pushed off the roof, he himself is the son of a guy who used to be big in the Yakuza. Now, the guy who you hear the story about, the White Death, who took over the Yakuza in the 80s, who's this brutal, hideous guy who just fucks all this shit up. Who everyone's terrified of, is the man that said dad wants to get his revenge on. And the White Death, by bringing all these people together, pushes the one kid off the roof that opens him up to having to leave his sanctuary and come out into the real world, which gives said dad opportunity. Which, it's a big roundabout way of saying dude wanted to get revenge. But it's this story within a story within a story that I actually really liked.
It was the Russian doll thing that like I like that, but it was too like Deus Ex Machina,
Agreed.
overarching. I
Agreed.
would have liked it to be a more capricious reason why they were all there, because that would have fit the tone of the movie.
Agreed.
Like it should, it could have been just like this random reason because like somebody's handler was like,
Put
you
them
know
in
what
the
I mean,
wrong
and that
place,
would have
yeah.
brought the handler back. Like I don't know, I just like the fact that it's all this overarching enemy that happened to be the one that his daughter pushed off, right?
Well,
Because that's actually what happened. The daughter pushes off,
Yeah.
which is like two disconnected events.
Well, the best
that
part
form this
of it,
connected event,
the best
right?
part of it is that Brad Pitt shouldn't even be there. He's filling in for someone
Yes,
else,
yeah.
who happens to be a fabulous blink and you miss it cameo from our best friend Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds, yeah.
Ryan Gosling, no, Ryan
Gosling,
Reynolds. And so the reason Brad Pitt's on the train is because the guy who actually killed the White Death's wife in a car crash is Ryan Reynolds. He actually, like, he's the one who caused it. So he thinks that by getting Brad Pitt at the end, he's getting the guy that kills his wife. But Brad Pitt's like, no, I'm just here because old mate's stomach was off. And it's like,
Yeah, to me, that capricious ending, like you could have connected it to that somehow, that Brad Pitt was the wrong guy on the job, but it didn't have to be this overarching villain that orchestrated all the other assassins.
I
being
kind
there.
of
You know
like
what I mean?
that
Like,
he was the wrong place, wrong time almost.
yeah,
That's
but
his bad luck.
I feel like that should have been the punchline of the villain. It's
Sure.
like, wait, you're not the guy, and instead of it being like this marionette of different stories managed by that villain.
Yeah.
Or if you're gonna do that, spend more time with the villain and the dad and the kid, because they were like almost peripheral characters.
I feel like that was almost like it was trying to like slide in without you noticing.
Yeah, but it's the ending.
Oh yeah, completely.
You know what I mean?
understand,
Like, I just think there get another writer in there and figure that out, and there's probably a funnier way to do that.
yeah, there's a funny way to do it. I quite liked some of the serious elements, though. I didn't want them all to be.
Really, I thought that was so out of place.
I thought, for example, the fact that
like the
what's her
son
name?
and like the honor thing. I was like, this is a bit weird.
I thought the fact that Joey King, the Prince character, the one who was acting
Yeah.
like a little girl who clearly wasn't, just happened to be the White Death's daughter. I was like, I don't care. Like, that's too.
Why not
a
make
couple of one too many steps too far?
Why not make her just a random person that he?
Yeah, he killed her
know,
mum,
yeah.
or just she was affected by him some other
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
It doesn't have to be everyone's
Yeah,
related to everyone. You know,
I agree.
You
Like,
know?
maybe
You
I'd
know,
have-
Dre.
maybe I would have been more forgiving if that was the case.
Yes,
But even then, I'm
agreed.
like, I just don't need it to be this big orchestrated thing. I kind of like the capriciousness of it. Like,
You really like Capricious today.
yeah, I do. I'm using that
It's
word.
your
a lot.
absolute fave.
I just think like everybody else, the whole movie, that was the case. Like everyone was just responding to the next thing, and it'd be funny if the whole thing was orchestrated on a similar ground.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Where somebody
it was
like
all a bit accidental.
somebody accidentally
Yeah.
did something to get him to do.
Yeah, someone fucked up to put them all in the same place.
And
I
it's
kind of
just-
like
and
that.
then
idea.
it would have been just like this falling leaf of just stupid. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
stupidity. Yeah, I like that. Is there any standout bits for you?
About like spoiler free
No,
or
it's-
spoiler given. Look, I like how unpredictable a bunch of this stuff was.
Yeah.
And like honestly, I already talked about it. I don't want to be redundant, but the stand-ups for me were just like the comedy with Lemon and
Brian Terry Henry,
Tangerine.
Tangerine.
That was like when he falls asleep.
Oh, yeah.
Or like when he wakes up, or like when
Because he
just,
drinks,
like,
he drinks
most-
the water. I like
Yeah,
that.
or
I
like the
when
apology
movies, yeah.
fight when they're like literally at the end fighting and they have an apology over like fighting other guys. Like it's just like it was really good, man.
I think I like the smaller moments. So, like for
Yeah.
example, when Tangerine, Aaron Taylor Johnson, is fighting Bradley Pitley, and they're in like a confined little bar space. And then the train girl comes in with like a trolley, and she's like, "Do you want anything?" And he's like, and Aaron Taylor's just like, "Just get out." But Brad Pitt's just like, "Yeah, I'll take a water."
Yeah.
And it slows the whole thing down.
Yeah.
But then when it speeds back up again, he used the water. So I like that. It was dynamic, and it felt very in keeping with that character.
Yeah, I also really liked. I loved that too. I liked when they both get shanked by the boom sling venom.
Oh yeah,
And they're like,
that's what
and
we
there's
were
like
talking
this
about a minute ago.
30-second moment where they're like, not even like, it's like they
Shit.
have 30 seconds. So there's like a 5-second moment where like he's kind of like,
So it's him and the assassin who uses
sorry,
a
I didn't
boom
set
sling.
that up at all.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
it's him and the assassin that uses boom sling venom to kill
name?
people.
That's Zazie Beetz, right?
Zazie Beetz, yeah, and it's like Hornet or something.
The Hornet, yeah, bang on.
And so like they both accidentally get stabbed by it, and it's like gonna instantly kill them. And so like you obviously know that like there's probably like the person that uses that to kill a bunch of people probably has an anti-venom to like save herself if such an event actually occurs. And Brad Pitt what does he do? He does something like he just really got an antivenom, and he's like watching where she looks.
Waits,
and he's watching, like waiting directly to see where she looks to go, and then just puts his hand in front of her, and so she accidentally injects it into him.
So he gets the antivenom, which saves him later on as well because he gets bitten by the snake later,
which I thought was a cool little like trope reversal of the Chekhov snake.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's like actually it didn't mean anything.
Did it bite anyone else? I'm sure it bit someone else.
I don't think it did.
That's fun. I like that. Actually, all right, I take one back.
I
take it back, DL. No one expects a Spanish Inquisition. I did like that. I also like that pretty much everybody died in this. Like, it wasn't a case of there was a lot of plot armor, and like Brad Pitt should have died multiple times. I keep saying Brad Pitt, Ladybug should have died multiple times. But I like the fact everyone was like Tangerine thought that Lemon thought Tangerine was dead, so. He goes off grieving, and then the other one ends up dying.
Yeah, he had a gruesome death.
So gruesome.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Yeah. I quite like that. It's like blood spitting out of his neck. The one character I didn't get behind or like, I mentioned just a moment ago, was the Prince character, the daughter. I was like, I got what they're going for. They were going for that reversal of that trope that she's acting like a scared little girl, but she's really like the tough one.
But it was kind of funny and creepy at times. When other people played off it. It wasn't as it's just hard to be better than all the other people.
That's true.
You know what I mean? She wasn't necessarily bad, but they were like there was just so many good performances.
It was a very good cast. I will give you that. Is there anything else to spoil?
Nah, I think we got it all.
Do you want a little bit of true or false trivia?
Let's do it.
I love our true or false trivia. It's probably one of my highlights when I remembered not to ruin all of my trivia while we're talking.
Well done.
True or false, DL? Bradley Pitley did 95% of his own stunts in the filming, according to stunt coordinator Greg Rementer.
False.
It's actually true. Apparently Brad Pitt was really invested.
All right, Tom.
But then a lot of the stuff that was wacky was quite CGI, I thought. So like...
Yeah.
His was more, I guess, more like the gung fu scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Yeah. What else would it be?
Rather than everything else.
The sitting on a train.
Like getting slapped by someone's notebook.
Yeah.
Like, all right. True or false? I got 4 today. I forgot I had 4. Sandra Bullock, who we forgot to mention.
No, we didn't. You got it.
Reportedly replaced Lady Gaga in the movie.
False.
That's actually true.
Really?
Lady Gaga was apparently set up to do this role, which I find... I mean, she's got the voice for it.
Sandra Bullock's better.
I didn't realize it was Sandra Bullock the whole way through.
But she was better than Lady Gaga would have been.
Yeah, Lady Gaga's been confirmed for that second Joker movie, right?
I did.
It's apparently going to be a musical.
I think that will be good. She's good. I'm on board with her as an actress.
As you well know, this is a Sony movie.
Yeah.
Right? And also know that Sony has the rights to Spider-Man, including Venom, and all the things around that. So apparently, Sony executives were so impressed with Aaron Taylor Johnson's performance that directly after shooting his scenes in Bullet Train, the star was contacted by the higher-ups at Sony to play the character of Kraven the Hunter. Is this true or is this false?
Debating if the timeline works.
You tell me. COVID?
Filmed in COVID, but I'm pretty sure that Kraven the Hunter stuff
is currently filming.
Too true. It's got to be false.
It's not. It's true.
Fucker.
Yes. This is the first time you've
I'm going 0 for 3.
0 for 3. It's terrible. Terrible. All right. Final one then. Is it going to be 3 truths in a row or false? Who knows? Can I get you? All right. Okay. True or false trivia. Aaron Taylor Johnson lost a chunk of his toe and passed out during a stunt. Is this true or is this false?
False.
You're right. It was actually a chunk of his hand. I wouldn't like to see what that looked like afterwards.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I watched an interview. I was like, surely that would have come up. That was my logic, but either way, that would have come up. So
yeah, it probably should have come up. But apparently, he did lost a chunk of his hand during filming. Which, I mean, Brad Pitt doing 95% of his own stunts. He must have done a few of his own too, by the looks of this, which is it's a lot of fun. Look, ultimately, I had a lot of fun with this. I thought it was big, it was dynamic, it didn't push any boundaries, but at the same time, characters were believable and lovable, if you allow yourself to be taken away in this world. It's great.
It's like I was listening to a podcast with Andrew Schultz and Louis Flagrant.
Oh yeah.
Louis the comedian, and as he said, some movies they're pinnacle of an era, and the next 10 to 20 years, other movies are chasing that, and they're not as good. But every now and again, one does a different twist on it, and it's still really good and enjoyable because of good writing and good actors. This is that, I think. Like it didn't break a ton of ground, but it was fucking enjoyable because it was like well executed.
I'm absolutely with that.
Yeah.
I sometimes you need that.
Yeah.
It's like a big warm blanket.
It's way better than like anything from Phase 1.
So, we should really stop comparing everything to MCU and Game of
Thrones. Phase 4.
Phase 4. All right. Would you like a little bit of correspondence, DL?
Let's hear it.
Now, if you want to get in contact with us, you can. You absolutely can. We love it when you do. You can find us at Podcast Assemble on Instagram.
Or the podcastassemble@gmail.com.
That's it. I'm sure we get it right every time. We get it right every time.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. Now, we had a couple of bits of correspondence. And now, thank you, friend of the show, Steve, who once again, he is our gaming master. He's been messaging us a lot of our gaming news recently. He said there were a couple of announcements. There's apparently another Nintendo thing that I completely missed. I watched some of the Sony one. That was fun. I'm a big fan of the Final Fantasy games. I don't know if you remember that from all the times I've said it a million times.
I think I've memorized that part.
I'm pretty sure everyone has by now. They are re-releasing. Now, they're doing a remake of the Final Fantasy VII game, which is, the big one.
Well, they already did part of it.
They've done part 1.
Yeah.
But what they also did was they did a prequel to it probably 15 years ago now. And they're apparently re-releasing it to align with the remake of the game. So
they're going to remake it or re-release it?
Well, that's the question. That's what he's asking. Do we, probably me, think it's going to be more of a remake or a re-release? It's for newer gen consoles. He thinks it could be a little bit mind-bendy. And I agree with you, Steve. So the game itself was effectively everything leading up to the introduction of the characters. Some of the characters in the actual game, you sort of get to meet, and they sort of like are peripheral characters. It's quite hard to explain, but they're almost like sort of like Force Ghosty type, some of them. But they've changed the current, like the main game, enough in what they've released that I can imagine this is like goes in a completely different direction. And I remember I really liked this game when it came out. It was quite hack and slash, but in like a fun way. Like the original Final Fantasy was obviously like turn-based, like classic JRPG. You take your turn, you slash.
Is the remake that way too?
So that's very much more aligned with this. It's a little hack and slash, but like you can choose like what your guy's gonna do, and certain moves take longer to execute and stuff. Yeah. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. I can imagine it's gonna be a lot of. I can imagine it's gonna be incredibly different. I'd love to know what you think, Steve. Why don't you hit us back up and let us know what you think, having seen the trailer, which looks a lot of fun. Moving on, we had more correspondence. Friend of the show, Matt, messaged in and said he really enjoyed our Obi-Wan Kenobi episode. That's right.
Oh, that's good.
And that he's just starting the season. But he also asks off the back of that, did we watch Umbrella Academy?
I did.
So you've seen it.
I forgot. I watched that almost the entire way. I forgot that I've seen the entire thing. Yeah.
Wow.
I binged it so fast.
I've seen episode 1.
I watched it on the flight to Europe.
Okay. Yeah. From
Sydney.
The States. Oh, from Sydney.
Well, both. Like from all the way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I did like it.
I feel like that's the sentiment when we watched that show.
I did like it. I thought there was a little bit too much sibling bickering this season, but like in a way that wasn't like all that additive.
Interesting.
In a way that kind of just felt too much like real life.
Too focused?
Like
too forced?
Not forced, just like too much like real life. I'm like, like I guess it's real, but like it wasn't that entertaining. Like it was like, you'll see it's between two particular siblings. But overall, it's still like very unique and fun, and I appreciated it for what it was.
I've seen the first episode, like I say. I enjoyed the what's Sparrow Academy, the other one. Mm-hmm. I liked that they were actually a functional team. That was fun to see the different dynamic.
Yeah.
Didn't really vibe with the new actors. I thought they were a little bit, I don't know, but I think that's kind of the show. I think the show is a little bit awkward I think it's supposed to be awkward.
I
Like the
kind of agree. Like
characters
some of the new characters, like I didn't even think about that, but that's partly why I didn't love it. Probably.
yeah, they weren't great. They either felt like they were trying to be awkward or they were too like rounded as peoples, which the original Umbrella Academy were, they were just fuck ups, which I really liked.
You'll see. I'll just say like some of what you say is you'll see.
Okay.
But overall, still like a solid above average.
Okay.
Definitely
better
above,
than Aquaman.
Definitely better than Aquaman. Yeah.
I will come back to it. All right. Well, thank you, friend of the show, Matt. And finally, friend of the show, Toby, messaged in and said, wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow. He says, now this is a little while ago, we got this message, but I wanted to bring it up because it's really nice. He said, thank you to us both for our recommendations on great TV shows. He got COVID. Now, we all,
About time, Toby. What have you been doing with your life?
well, who knows? He was locked down for the classic 7 days, as you are. And he said that while he was there, he got into one of our key recommendations from the pod, which is The Boys. And he said he absolutely burnt through it. So that's awesome. That's really great to see. He said that you can't really get past that first episode when Robin gets basically exploded by A-Train.
Yeah.
That's like a real highlight.
I still haven't seen the new season.
Really? Oh
Yeah.
my God, it's fucking great.
Yeah.
That was his question. He asked, when are we going to do a season 3 episode?
It's a good question. I guess I got to get on it.
do.
I feel guilty for binging Umbrella Academy so fast, so I need to take that one slow, I think, because those are two high quality shows that I was,
okay.
Yeah.
You're going to say it's a high quality? Okay.
Umbrella?
All right.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the ones I was looking forward to for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess it's hard though when you're on an airplane and stuff. Like you kind of, whatever can entertain you, you kind of.
Yeah, I was fucking over it, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched the entirety of The Last Dance again on my last flight back. I was so enthralled by it.
Really wanted to play basketball,
oh
but
my
you were
God,
on an
I really
airplane.
wanted to get shouted at by Michael Jordan.
I don't think I ever finished that. I need to finish it.
Oh my God, it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
like one of my all-time faves.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you all for the correspondence. We really appreciate it, and we really appreciate when you get in touch. Where can they find us, DL?
As I mentioned, they can find us at Podcast Assemble on Instagram or thepodcastassemble@gmail.com.
My man.
On our Instagram, we got, lots of stuff being posted. I think we're doing some reels lately. I don't know. You tell me, Tommy.
All the stuff. I hear
Locky's
it's all
the
about
man.
reels these days.
Yeah,
that's where everyone's
My
going.
partner made her first reel. It seems like anyone can do it.
Yeah,
It was very nice.
It's real easy.
Yeah. So it's not all that special, but follow us there if you like our stuff. He'll put some polls up.
Find out some more of the day-to-day news. Find out some verses. I think I put one up the other day, which was Captain Marvel versus Captain Marvel. So you remember Shazam versus Carol Danvers? You find a few these fun little bit nuggets that are in there, little bits from the show, little bits of news we don't talk about. It's all there, man.
Yeah.
Do you want to wrap up the show, DL?
Yeah. If you guys could just give us 5-star reviews.
Do it.
I think that
Apparently it helps.
Bribe you or I don't know what you want from me, man. Just fucking do it. And
it really helps. It helps with the algorithms and all those things.
Yeah, we'd appreciate it. Thank you, Lockie. Thank you, Tommy. Thanks for all that stuff.
Pass the pod, man. If you've got a friend who might like this stuff, or watches Marvel, or thinks that they just want to listen to two idiots chatting,
by word of mouth, grassroots effort, right?
We'd love it.
That's how things get done, right? Grassroots.
Help two brothers out. Two brothers.
Yes. And
we appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, and you can find us on Podcast Assemble on Instagram or thepodcastassemble@gmail.com. Until then, until next time.
Tally ho.
Tally ho.